One thing we're told as NBA fans nowadays is that longevity is a true measure of a player's greatness, and how many total points they have, rebounds, assists, that is a measuring stick where they should rank all time. That line of thinking is pushed by ESPN, Fox Sports, social media, and especially LeBron James fans. Now, unfortunately for the NBA media, the majority of basketball fans have an IQ above room temperature, and these longevity stats, longevity arguments really fall flat with the majority of fans. And look, when it comes to longevity stats, they are valuable in some respects. When it comes to an all-time record, some milestone, they can be very, very important. But when it comes to a player debate, for roughly 70 years, longevity stats didn't matter until the media had to push LeBron James as the GOAT. And quite possibly the biggest LeBron James fan, the biggest LeBron stat nerd, is indeed Nick Wright. And of course, Nick absolutely loves longevity and values it above all else. But here's the funny thing, Nick Wright in 2022 was just baffled, perplexed, why actual NBA fans, rational fans, don't value longevity nearly as much.
He's 150 points away from passing Kareem. And it seems like the media collectively has decided we're not treating this like a big deal. The longer the timeline goes, the more people are going to think Michael Jordan being the greatest ever is ludicrous. He scored 32,000 points. Oh, who has the most? LeBron, how many did he score? 44,000. The gap between Jordan and LeBron is bigger than the gap between Jordan and Paul Pierce. Nobody seems to care.
That right there was a man pushing 40, crying and complaining about another man's record not getting appreciation. That, of course, is very sad and downright pathetic. But I think Nick right there, unknowingly, kind of had a reality check that a lot of fans don't think like him and don't value what he values. As looking at longevity stats, they're the most funky stats you can find. And if you're evaluating a player purely off these numbers to gauge how great they were, it's a fool's errand. For example, look at Scottie Pippen. On the all-time scoring list, barely ranks in the top 70. And the guys ahead of him, Dale Ellis, Reggie Theus, Gail Goodrich, and Eddie Johnson. Pippen undoubtedly is a top 30 player in NBA history, but longevity-wise, based off that, isn't better than Reggie Theus. Look at Larry Bird. On the all-time scoring list, ranks 44th. The guys ahead of him, GP, great player, Chris Paul, great player, Clyde Drexler, also a great player, and then DeMar DeRozan. As great as those guys are, were they better scorers, all-around players than Larry Bird? Of course not. And here's kind of the reversal of that. Paul Pierce all-time ranks 20th in scoring. The guys behind him, John Havlicek, Kevin Garnett, Iverson, and D. Wade. As much as I love Paul Pierce, he isn't better or greater than any of those players. And the biggest hole in longevity argument, of course, boils down to Michael Jordan. As on the all-time scoring list, he ranks 5th behind Kobe, Karl Malone, and Kareem. And the fact Karl Malone is 3rd all-time in scoring should tell you everything about longevity stats. As Malone back in the day was a perennial playoff choker who, yes, put up big numbers, but in the crunch time championship moments, always faltered under the pressure. And looking back at the NBA media, every single year, like clockwork, they make the longevity case LeBron James is the best player at X age. I mean, since he was 33, they've been saying it non-stop. Best at 33, best at 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, and so on, so on, so on. The constant obsession with age and longevity has really been pushed because of LeBron James and the NBA's marketing machine. But here's the thing, LeBron at each of those ages was never the best player all time. For starters, look at age 33. Michael Jordan, 1996, had a far better season and was a much better player than age 33 LeBron James. As Jordan that year won the MVP, was first team all defense, the Bulls won 72 games, he was the scoring leader, playoff scoring leader, finals MVP, and lost 3 games en route to the championship. Age 34, who had the best year of all time. You can go in a variety of ways, but the player I chose was Steph Curry in 2022 when he won his 4th championship. And Steph this year debatably had the most complete year of his entire career, as supporting cast, unlike years past, was severely diminished, and despite that, still won 50 plus games. And looking at how he played in the NBA Finals, 31.2 points, a career high, on 48-44 and 86 splits. And for that series, was by far the best offensive player and most clutch player on the floor. And the team he was playing, the Boston Celtics, were the best defensive team in the NBA post All-Star break. Age 35, again, Michael Jordan in 1998. At this year, MJ played all 82 games at age 35 en route to his 5th MVP. And pretty important note, despite Scottie missing half the season, the Bulls still won 60 plus games. And that Chicago roster was the oldest championship team in NBA history, and scoring-wise, the lowest supporting cast of all time. And the icing on top of the cake, Michael Jordan in the finals had not one but 2 iconic moments. And to kind of put the nail in the coffin of this argument, that LeBron James, since he turned 33, was the best player at every age. Look at Kareem at age 36 and 37. At age 36, the best player in LA led the team to 58 wins, and in that year's playoffs, made the finals, averaging 27 points, nearly 8 boards, 3 assists, 4 blocks on 56.8% shooting. Age 37, nearly identical when it came to the NBA Finals, as versus Boston, averaged 27 points, 8 boards, 4 assists, 2 blocks on 48% shooting. When it comes to guys like Jordan and Curry, we know how good they were at their later stages. But for Kareem, many forget this dude was not only putting up great stats, but also winning championships past the age of 35. And of course, you guys know I think Michael Jordan is the unquestioned greatest player in NBA history. But if you value longevity so much, a guy like Kareem has to be the best player of all time. Now, keeping that thought in mind, when it comes to longevity, there's really 3 different levels. The first level, I would call low-tier longevity. Guys who played a very long time, 20, 21, even 22 years, like a Vince Carter, Robert Parrish, who once they turned 40, they were still playing, but in low single digits when it came to scoring. Now the next level, I would call stat longevity. Guys like Karl Malone, LeBron James, who weren't really winning championships per se, but individually had great numbers approaching 40. Now the last category I would define as high-tier longevity. These guys, like a Wilt Chamberlain, a Kareem, who late in their careers winning championships approaching 40. In my view, that is the best category in terms of longevity, because stats, while great, aren't nearly as important as championships. As time goes on, longevity stats, these niche stats, they fade away into the distance, and what remains are championships and iconic playoff moments. And for a player like LeBron James, if you want to debate longevity total stats versus championships, I would ask him this: would you sacrifice 10,000 points for that 5th championship and 5th Finals MVP? I would say a 99.99% chance he'd opt for the championship and the Finals MVP. And why he would do that is, like most rational NBA fans, he understands longevity stats, while great, don't outweigh championships or Finals MVPs. And one last point I do want to make about high quality longevity, again comparing Jordan versus LeBron. Look at these two guys once they turned 30. Michael Jordan, 3 championships, 3 Finals MVPs, 3 all-defensive teams, 2 MVPs, 3 scoring titles, and a win percentage just below 70%. If you want to talk high-tier longevity once a player turned 30, Michael Jordan still clears LeBron James every day of the week. Now, looking back at Nick Wright, of course this dude is kind of a doofus playing a character on TV, and I think most times doesn't believe what he's selling, as only a complete fool would think longevity stats, total numbers, outweigh championships, and tangible accolades. So, as always, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.